welcome. It's time for Electric Gold. And this is Ryan. I'm here with my good friends John and Evan. We're here to talk about all things Nashville soccer. Very excited to be with you guys today. And as always, when we get started talking about soccer, we like to be having a tasty beverage at our side. So, Evan, you start us off. What are you drinking today?
Hey, thanks. Hey, guys. Today I'm drinking an East Bank. That is a East Nashville Beer Works IPA, dry hopped, lovely, bitter, bright, and what's more, it was a gift from the one and only Captain Liam Barry.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, he hooked me up with that for our walking beers for the Charlotte match the other night. So here's to Liam.
Cheers, Liam.
Cheers.
What about yourself, John?
Well, tonight I'm engaging in a little bit of carpetbaggery. I am drinking a hazy-hearted IPA from Bell's Brewery from Kalamazoo, Michigan. I do like to prefer to keep it local most of the time, but yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and I drank all of the alcohol in my house, if not the county, and this was the only thing left. But it's a good IPA.
Hey, you cannot go wrong with Bell's. I've had many of their fine products over the years. Those Michigan breweries do know how to do it. And speaking of Michigan, I'm actually joining you guys from Michigan today. Earlier this evening, went out to dinner and had an excellent beer from a brewery nearby, Warwater Brewery in St. Clair, Michigan. They make a red ale called Rose Tattoo that was just smooth as could be. I loved it. But for the podcast, I had to be resourceful because I'm out of town and I had to go to the local CVS and I picked up a tall boy of the Natty Daddy.
Oh my God.
Wow. Beautiful.
That is amazing.
It says Natty Daddy on it. It's 8% alcohol. It is called the big one right up here at top. It says the big one. So I'm very proud of my Natty Daddy selection.
Fun tonight, man.
And by the end of this podcast, I may be laying on the floor. Who knows? All right, guys, it's been a busy week for the Nashville Soccer Club, and let's start with a week in review. Nashville SC began the week with a face-off against the LA Galaxy at Geodis Park last Sunday. With a heavy schedule from the CONCACAF Cup games, Coach Gary Smith elected for a most unusual lineup featuring Elliot Panico in goal, Mackenzie Gaines, and Teal Bunbury starting up front, and an NSC debut for Amar Sejic. I hope I'm saying that right, and starts on the defensive side for Brent Coleman and Josh Bauer. The early drama of the game centered around a spectacular block from Panico on a penalty kick that energized the crowd and the team. Nashville gained steam from that moment, finally breaking through early in the second half when Teal Bunbury scored a penalty kick of his own, his second in as many games. Just a few minutes later, Drew Yearwood converted a pass from Mackenzie Gaines for a goal of his own, and NSC was rolling 2-0. While NSC was riding high, the Galaxy were regrouping and putting the pressure on. Ricky Puig, again, I hope I'm saying that right, scored off of the post to get the Galaxy on the board, and their momentum continued when Dejan Joveljic, I'm terrible with these names, I'm so sorry. Dejan Joveljic collected the rebound off a terrific Panico save and even the score. The final result was a draw. Next up was the highly anticipated rematch with Miami, this time taking place in their stadium, FIU Stadium. Leading up to this game, there was a hotly contested conversation on social media circling the questionable calls from the first match a week earlier, which had ended in a 2-2 draw. Many Miami fans wanted to insist that they were treated equally unfairly when Leo Messi caught the cleats from Lucas McNaughton's ball clearance. Replays clearly showed the play to be clean and Messi to be a victim of wrong place, wrong time. In an overwhelming show of solidarity, many NSC fans changed their profile pictures on social media to pictures of McNaughton, who quickly gained status as one of the most popular players on the team. And while those good vibes were cresting for NSC fans, they would be quickly extinguished. Miami's scoring onslaught that had been going on all season continued as Luis Suarez netted a goal in the 8th minute, and then Messi followed with a goal shortly thereafter, and the game was all but a formality at that point. Sam Surridge did finally get Nashville on the board in extra time, but it was too little too late as Nashville's CONCACAF run was ended. Later in the week, the league's cup schedule was announced, and Nashville will open their summer tournament play on July 31st against Mazatlan FC. Also in the group stage will be a match away at the New England Revolution. As you'll recall, probably the pinnacle of the club's young history occurred last season with their magical run to the Leagues Cup final that ended with a penalty kick showdown against Miami and Messi, finally ending when Miami outlasted NSC once the kicks went to the goalies. Back in Nashville this past Saturday, the boys in gold found themselves facing off against a Charlotte team also looking to gain traction after a sluggish start to the season. The lineup featured the stars of Nashville offense, including Hany Mukhtar, Sam Surridge, and Tyler Boyd. This combination did not disappoint. Sam Surridge provided a header off of a beauty of a cross from Taylor Washington for the first goal, and Alex Muyl found his accuracy with a header of his own late in the first half. Charlotte got a goal of their own before halftime, but Nashville's staunch defense locked in and provided the team with their first win of the young season. Now, one noticeable caveat to an otherwise exciting win for the team was the exit of Hany Mukhtar in the 81st minute. Mukhtar was noticeably upset as he came off the pitch. Coach Gary Smith tried to stop Mukhtar and speak with him, but he was brushed aside. Mukhtar was then observed slamming a chair and visibly angry. Guys, I want to start there before we jump into any of the segments or any of our different pieces of the podcast. I want to talk about this because I haven't seen much mention of it in any of the reviews of the game online. I haven't seen much mention of it on social media. Maybe you have. But to me, it was a really interesting exchange as Mukhtar exited the pitch. Gary Smith's grabbing him, trying to stop him, talk to him. He wouldn't hear any of it. He is just brushing past him. And then you saw the anger as he started to throw the chairs around. Was this just a case of a star frustrated with himself because maybe he felt like he didn't have the best game? Or do you guys interpret that there's something more here, a frustration with the team's style or strategy where Mukhtar isn't getting his opportunities like he would like to see? What do you guys think?
I would say more of the former. I think any star player, they never want to come off a game, especially one where they're winning. And on a personal note, I mean, he also has not had, well, he was injured for most of the start of the season. So I think he's wanting to play himself back into shape. I don't think that it was anything personal with Gary. I think he was frustrated that he was just coming off the pitch early.
Okay. Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I don't have any reason to believe that it's anything personal with Gary. I haven't heard anything to that effect, haven't seen anything. And it just strikes me as being personal frustration. He really hasn't been playing that well. He's been playing poorly, of course, but he just hasn't been playing that well. And that's, Hany is kind of streaky. He's always been a little bit streaky. And he's in a valley right now, and I think he was probably frustrated that he didn't get a goal. And yeah, I'm not too worried about that right now, but let's keep our eye on that, boys.
That was what I was going to say. It's something to certainly watch. I agree with you guys. It's at this point I'd call it a bunch of nothing, but I don't know. It's just something to keep an eye on. I will say that during the game, I was watching it right around halftime as I'm kind of collecting my thoughts and notes for preparing for this podcast. One of the things I was going to ask you guys is it time to start asking, is everything okay with Mukhtar? When's the last great Mukhtar game that we can remember?
Wow, that is a good question.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. I don't even know that he had a great one, like one of his all-timers in the Leagues Cup run. Now I'm thinking about it, but I mean, that was probably the last time he was near the top of his game.
In the Leagues Cup, we saw Surridge really come alive and score a few goals.
Yeah.
Fafa was the scorer.
It was more of a team effort.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a good question.
I just wonder have we gone through a long enough period now where we need to start to be concerned. I don't want to say I'm concerned about Hany Mukhtar. He's the greatest player of the team's young history. He's been a part of like 70% of our offense since the team began MLS play. I'm not complaining about him at all. All I'm saying is that this is a definite drought at this point, and I just want to know, is it because teams are double and triple teaming? I certainly saw that in the game with Charlotte. Anytime the ball got to Mukhtar's feet, there were 3 defenders around him, and they just formed a triangle around him, and he had no choice but to give it up. But it is something I want to continue to keep my eye on. I think that it's great to see others participating in our offense and scoring for once. That was something that we always complained about. And so we can't have it both ways. We can't say, oh, I wish others would score. And then when everybody else is scoring, be like, what's wrong with Mukhtar? You got to have some balance.
What's wrong with expecting, 2 other players to score 2 goals, and then he comes in with a hat trick and makes it a 5-1 win?
Why not? I mean, that sounds good enough for me. But anyway, it's something that I wanted to keep an eye on. I didn't know if you guys had any other thoughts about it.
One last little thing about that is, even though he didn't get his goal, even though he was angry to come off, I actually felt like he played a little bit better in the Charlotte match than he had in previous matches. And I don't know if you remember, but he hit that long ball to Taylor from way back in the midfield over on the right side, hit that ball to Taylor, which Taylor then crossed in for Sam's goal. So, he's contributing. It's just not maybe what we're used to seeing, maybe what he's not used to getting from himself. But I actually thought he played a little bit better in the Charlotte match than he has in a few games.
Hockey assist.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go.
Absolutely. Okay, well, let's do the best and worst. So I'm going to ask you each to tell me the best thing that you saw this past week. This can go all the way back to the Galaxy game up through Charlotte, and the worst thing. So let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. Evan, what's the worst thing that you observed about the team in the past week?
Yeah, giving up the 2-goal lead to the Galaxy, is the thing that I liked the least. Losing to Miami in that CONCACAF game, that didn't bother me that bad. I think you guys know, I'm not too disappointed about that exit. But losing a 2-goal lead to the Galaxy at home, that is so frustrating. And then, of course, when we gave up that goal, towards the end of the first half against the Charlotte, I was just dreading a repeat. And so, I've got some concerns about the defense. Obviously, it is a completely different defense without Walker there. Not only does he himself personally provide such incredible defensive coverage, but he just lifts every other guy back there. So that's a huge loss right now. But in the past, when we've been without him for, international breaks or maybe little injuries, it seems like we've had, some pretty solid coverage despite his absence. But I haven't really been feeling that way this season so far.
And you're not alone. Gary Smith agrees with you, and he's been shifting a lot of people in and out of that lineup in the defense. As you know, Jack Mayer didn't play for 2 games straight. Lovett's moved over to center back for a game. We saw a lot of Josh Bauer, which I didn't expect to see a lot of. And we've even seen Brent Coleman come in and get some time as well. He's an experienced defender, but he's certainly not a standout like what we were used to on our defense. So it's definitely Gary is searching for something right now. John, what do you think?
Evan stole my homework. This was exactly my worst of the week. It was the defense is struggling without Walker. And like Evan said, exactly in the past when we've missed Walker, it hasn't been that big a drop-off, I feel, defensively anyway. And obviously, Nashville SC historically, if we had a 2-0 lead, that was time to sing. You came a long way just to lose or whatever. It's not this way right now. It's if we're leading 2-0, it's pants shitting time because who knows what's going to happen. I don't know. I don't know what's off about it because individually McNaughton's been playing well, I feel.
And he's the sex symbol that everybody is going crazy over lately. I don't know if you did you follow all of that online on social media?
Oh, of course, yeah. That was one of the Twitter profiles that changed, along with probably 500 others.
There were shirtless pictures of Lucas.
Yeah,
he could be a model. He could be a model if the soccer thing doesn't work out for him.
I believe that he is. He's actually done some modeling.
Well, it doesn't surprise me.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
So what is going on with Jack Mayer? This is a big question I have for you guys.
I didn't think he looked great in the Charlotte game either. He started and played in that game, and I was not impressed. And again, he's been solid in the past, and he's been kind of touted as the next generation of our defense. As Zimmerman gets older, Mayer was supposed to be the guy who comes in and kind of takes over. It's been McNaughton instead who has been the dominant force back there. Mayer has struggled to justify his playing time. It seems like this year so far.
He needs to be a more commanding presence. I don't know if he takes deference to Walker when Walker is in, but when Walker's not there, he needs to be the guy. He's still doing the deferring thing, and I don't know if it's affecting his confidence overall. He's making mistakes that I was not seeing from him last year. Certainly not the first half of the season when people were talking about him possibly being all-star or possibly getting U.S. caps even. I think that was discussed during the first half of last year, and it's not happening right now.
Do you feel like you're back in 11th grade with Evan copying off of you like in Miss Boyd's class?
Yeah, dude. I know he was looking over my shoulder the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time. Literally the whole time.
What's the best thing you saw this week?
The best thing I saw this week is, we've mentioned it a little bit before, the attack is working without Hani firing on all cylinders. Boyd seems to be fitting in well. Surridge, now that he's looking healthy, looked fantastic against Charlotte. And I know the Miami was kind of a washout, but even the second half, once Surridge came on, we looked better. And obviously Schaffelberg has been tearing it up as well in general. So yeah, it's been encouraging. And then the Galaxy game, Mackenzie Gaines, even Drew Yearwood helped out in the attack in that game, and it was actually looking pretty good. So that's been encouraging for me.
Yeah, and I'll just add, Evan, you were saying you're frustrated with the Galaxy game and losing that lead. But I think we may have even said this to each other, that you show me that lineup for that game, and then you tell me that we're going to have a 2-2 draw, you'd be really okay with it. Of course, it started out with us on fire, and we weren't able to hold on to the lead, so you feel differently about it. But in the moment you look at that, we've got our backup goalie, we've got backups on defense, and throughout the midfield, throughout the whole team. It was a lot of people are like, who are these guys? I don't know these guys. I had trouble even knowing who had the ball because I'm like, I can't pick out who that is. I don't recognize these guys. So while it is frustrating with how the game played out, the result, given the resources that we used in that game, not so bad. But what was the best thing you saw this week?
The best thing I saw this week was that win on Saturday night. An actual win, right? First league win of the season. Guys, did you know the 50th MLS League Play win for the club in club history?
Wow.
Did not know
50
that.
wins. And the way we did it, we've touched on the fact that even though we gave up that goal in the first half, we didn't give up the second goal the rest of the game. We had the better of possession in the Charlotte game. And I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it was like they made a concerted effort to not always bring the ball down the wing and put in a hopeful cross. And Shaq did this better than anybody on Saturday night, where in the past it might have just been an obvious crossing situation for him. He actually cut that ball back in and tried to find maybe like Hani running to the corner of the 18-yard box, just to do something a little bit different, to be a little bit less predictable, mix it up a little bit. And yeah, I just was so thrilled to get those 3 points in front of 28,000 people, the extra fireworks, the beautiful weather. It was incredible.
Amen.
For me, the best thing this week was that we mentioned it, the fans getting all worked up and in support of Luke McNaughton and the McNaughton Army or McNaughty Army or however you want to call it. Everybody coming together, the solidarity there. It was lovely to see. I'm very happy for the win. It's high on the best things list. If I had to name like a 1A and 1B, that would be right there too. But I just love it when our fans come together as a group and form this solid block that's ready to take on the rest of the league, especially the whole thing with Miami. I can't wait to see them again. I can't wait to beat them. I can't wait to the next time. If we can get our offense clicking on all cylinders like we're starting to see, and then if we can get our defense back to the form that we have grown used to, we've got everything that they can handle and then some. I really, truly believe that. We match up well with that team, and I want that win against them so badly.
Yeah, we'll beat their ass.
All right, now it is time for the up-down. So in this section, as you guys know, we're going to be talking about who or what is trending up from what you've observed this past week and what is trending down. It doesn't necessarily need to be the best or the worst thing. It's just what's showing some movement, what's getting better or what's getting worse. So we'll start with you, Evan. Tell us what you think is trending up this week.
I actually think multiple players are trending up after this week, but I'm going to single out Drew Yearwood because I was very concerned. I think I might have even mentioned it on the last episode. I was very concerned with what I was seeing out of him the first few games, but it really seems like he has settled in this week, found his confidence, found his place. He's doing so much right. Obviously, he scored that great goal, but he's been contributing. He's been winning duels. He's been making passes, advancing the ball. And, I feel really relieved. It really seems like he may end up being a real solid contributor this season, and we can only hope future seasons.
He moves the ball forward, which I like a lot, and is a lot different than what we've seen from our midfield in years past. So That's exciting. I thought in the Galaxy game, he was the difference maker. I know it ended in a draw, but through the first 70 minutes of that game, I thought Drew Yearwood was one of the main reasons why we were as successful as we were. And of course, he had a goal to go along with all of that, but all of the other little things he was doing just to keep the ball advancing and put the pressure on. He doesn't seem like he's interested in playing too much of what we refer to as Gary ball.
True.
He's not really interested in just back and playing a lot of
Passing
defense and being conservative. He's ready to go and put the pressure on, which I really love.
He won the penalty too.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was all over. He was very involved in the offense in the Galaxy game, which is great. And I thought he had a terrific game against Charlotte as well. He was solid. You didn't hear his number called a lot, but he was, again, doing all the right things and making the right decisions, which if we're going to not have Dax anymore, we need somebody like that in that spot, moving the ball forward and making good passes and making good decisions. John, what's trending up for you this week?
Trending up for me, I'm going to go with the guy that we all love to watch more than anything. It's Alex Muyl.
Yeah, Evan's favorite.
Especially the game against Charlotte. He was everywhere. I know he got the goal, which is amazing. He had a few other chances that he missed, but that's just what he's going to do. I mean, he was everywhere, and he did so many just ridiculous things. He beat two defenders once with a nice move on the right side, and then he also he tried like a back heel at one point, like on the left side.
Yeah, that's
and
right.
He tripped over his own feet. It was the most Alex Muyl game ever.
What did you think about that goal celebration, John?
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
just standing there. I mean, yeah.
Just like the Jesus pose or whatever, where
how can you not love the guy? He's basically one of us as a soccer player if we happen to have 6 lungs. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know that he entirely knows what he's doing, but he does it awesomely. He's fumbling towards ecstasy. He's the Sarah McLachlan of Nashville SC.
You would have been happy for him to look over your shoulder and cheat in Mrs. Boyd's class.
I would love it. I would have helped him out because I know he would have needed it.
Hey, did you see today he was named to the bench of the Match Day 5 Team of the Week?
Well deserved, too, because, man, he ran that match.
He out-hustled everybody on the pitch, that's for sure. We saw a little bit of Schaffelberg in the game, but Muyl, just the motor would not stop all game long. And while he creates confusion for us as fans, but he also creates confusion for the other team.
Absolutely. Any causer of chaos is good in my book. Hell Satan and hell Alex Muyl.
We often refer to him as the Millersville Messi, but I think I'm going to start referring to Leo Messi as the Argentinian Muyl.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
I like it.
I mean, I'd rather take Muyl on our team.
Oh. Yeah, for sure. Sure.
I'm bringing the hot takes early.
Yeah, you are. Spicy.
Well, did I ask you what's trending down?
No, you have not.
Okay. Hit me, Jackal.
Trending down is, unfortunately, the milkman, Jack Mayer.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, he needs to take charge. I just don't get it because, he was trending up for the whole first half of last year easily. As like him and Zimmerman had it on lock. And then, I don't know, he's lost confidence. And Gary's obviously lost a little confidence in him. My feeling is that he just needs to get mad. Like he needs to start playing mad. He needs to get pissed off.
It almost sounds like this is not an issue of his skills on the pitch, but more of a personality thing or a leadership thing even. And some people just may be great at what they do, but they are not leaders. Is that maybe what we're seeing here? He's an excellent defenseman, but he's just not cut out to lead that whole defensive line. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. We can't know because we're not in the practices and the conversations in the locker room and all that sort of thing and down there able to listen to what's really going on the pitch. But you see Zimmerman when he's out there. You can see him directing traffic, calling people out. And you see it from McNaughton, too. You see him being verbal with his teammates. And I do not recall ever seeing that with Jack Mayer. And again, it's not a criticism. He's a terrific player. But is he the leader of that back line? I'm not sure.
I think he needs to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Playing beside Zimmerman would give you an obvious example of who to base your career on and your personality on. And I hope for his sake, because he has all the talent in the world. Obviously, he was our first ever draft pick, and we've all seen what he can do when he's really on his game. And I want to see it all the time.
Yeah, maybe it's because he's playing with Zimmerman so much. And, Zimmerman's an alpha dog. I think any of us would defer to him if we were in the presence of Zimmerman. Let's say we're all hanging out at a dive bar in East Nashville and Zimmerman walks in. We're all going to act like he's the king and basically, can I get you something, Walker? You want something from the bar?
Yeah, please.
Can I get you some kettle chips or something? And maybe that's the thing, is that Jack's had so much time with him that it's become habit for him to defer, to take a back seat when he needs to try and be more vocal and be a leader. I don't know. Or maybe his style is, some people were leaders in a much more quiet way, and maybe that's his style, but it hasn't been working, whatever the issues are, whatever kind of communication is happening there. Gary Smith's not happy with it. He says as much in his presser, so something's not right. And it was clear that Jack Mayer is a part of whatever Gary was talking about because he sat out 2 games in a row.
Basically, I need to get Jack Mayer drunk.
Yes.
He needs to stop being the milkman and start being the beer man.
I think that's what he needs.
Cheers to that. He needs a natty daddy. I'm telling you, it's delicious, guys. I'm really enjoying it over here. Okay, Evan, what was something that you saw trending down this week?
Yeah, I'm still trending. I'm trending down even further on Godoy.
Wow.
Starting, yeah, I know. And this is going to break my poor brother's heart. Kurt Lamberth, I'm sorry, but this started last season. I've been harping on it ever since then. But he was giving the ball away way too easily in the defensive half of the field, especially really careless, silly fouls at the top of the box. But even last season when that was going on, he was still contributing so much offensively. It was a net gain. This year, I'm not seeing any net gain. It's net loss with Godoy so far this season. And I started to think about why that might be. And I don't know. Maybe he's a little lost without Dax. They were such a pairing. They complemented each other so well. And Dax has those leadership qualities that, maybe benefited Godoy. But, I don't really know what's going on there. But I think that he's going to have to contribute more offensively to give us what we need or ride the bench. And with Yearwood ascending, maybe he becomes his new rock in the midfield. That's what I'm hoping for anyway.
It's interesting. I think just last week we were talking about having some real Godoy love and the way that he performed in the home Miami match and his resilience and toughness.
But yeah, absolutely.
He's tough.
Since that first the home Miami match, yeah, he's looked out of it. There's always the possibility. It's just age.
Right.
I mean, he is getting up there. And
mid-30s,
soccer
right?
players, as we know, have a finite, I can't remember off the top, 32, 33 maybe. I should do my research before I become a podcaster.
I got you covered. He's 34.
Ooh, even more than I thought. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think his style is so fluid. It seems like he coasts through games sometimes, and maybe he's losing a bit of the legs that he really can't coast through games anymore and still be effective. And it requires a big occasion possibly to get him pumped up to be effective, like that first Miami game where he knew, I've got to be the big badass to take on these dudes.
Yeah, maybe so.
But yeah, you're right. He's been disappointing since that first Miami game, for sure.
Interesting. I'll just do a quick one, and this isn't really trending. I don't know if it's trending up or not, but remember how much time we were talking about the front office last week, and we're barely talking about them at all this week. So
that's good, huh?
That's a good thing. It's a great thing. How quickly we forget some of the issues that we brought up still linger, but what a difference a win makes, right?
Yeah, and we really needed that win. If you look at our next 4 games coming up, we got some tough ones. That was the most winnable game for the next month or so in MLS, and so we had to get it. The boys came through.
I know that this is probably everybody's hope, and I truly believe that the relaxed schedule is going to help us tremendously, and we're going to find our form. And I think Hani's going to find his form once we can get into a routine of 1 game a week, and we don't have this midweek stuff, pressure of the cup games and all that kind of thing. I think that we're going to come into our own over the next few weeks, and you're going to see the team you expected to see. That's not just a hope. That's a true belief right there. All right, now it's your favorite time of the podcast. It's time for the Nashville Hot Chicken Takes, where you guys give me your hottest hot take that you can come up with for this week, and I'm going to rate it on a heat level scale, and we'll just see how spicy you can get. So who wants to go first with the hottest take they can come up with? Who's got a really burning sensation?
I'll go.
Okay.
This one is going to sound insane to a lot of Nashville SC fans. Gary Smith is a good soccer coach.
He's been getting a lot of hate lately. There's a hashtag Fire Gary trending.
When you see any social media post about Nashville SC, what are you going to see? 100 fucking comments. Gary Smith out. Who are you going to get that would take this team and do better? Who is going to get a shitty 2-1 win against Charlotte during the 8th game that you've played in 23 days?
Who's going to wear that blazer like he's a Miami Vice villain either?
Who is going to look so pimping on the sideline?
He had his hair grown out a little bit. He had that blazer on. I was like, we got a whole new Gary.
I'm telling you, all he's got to do is slick it back. Slick it back like Pat Riley. Then people loving him.
Yes.
Before the game started, when I saw him on the sideline, I was like, oh, we're winning this thing. And then immediately, I was like, we ain't losing tonight.
No, I really think he's a good soccer coach. And it's funny for me to say that because I have often said in the heat of the moment, man, fucking Gary Ball. But if you look at it calmly, he is a good soccer coach. He's won an MLS Cup. And I did a little research earlier today. That Colorado Rapids team, everyone always says, oh, he won the MLS Cup when there was like 8 teams in the league or whatever. There were less teams back then. Did you know that team was 1 goal away from being the highest scoring team in MLS that season?
Wow.
Every time I've ever, I know I didn't follow the Colorado Rapids in 2010.
Nor did anyone in Colorado.
As if anyone did. No one follows the Colorado Rapids now to this day. There is a decent chance that if we fired Gary Smith in the middle of a season, I mean, who are we going to bring in? Like, I can think of like Robin Fraser would be a good choice to replace him. He'd play a similar style of soccer. I mean, this team is built to play the way that it is, and I think Gary is a good soccer coach. I'm going to stick with it.
You going to build a statue?
Yeah, I'm not going to build a statue to him.
Yeah, maybe a bust.
Until he wins a trophy.
Maybe just a bust, just the head and shoulders, and that's it. Not a whole statue.
Yeah. It'll be like the Lionel Richie video. Like have a blind lady put the Gary.
That's a legitimately hot take compared to what a lot of our fan base is saying right now. Well done, John. I think you make an excellent point. What's the replacement value that's available out there? He is a good soccer coach. I think you're right. But damn, is it frustrating to get that lead. Even sometimes you see it when we are just up 1-0. And then you can just see the change in the team to a very conservative. And it's like playing the prevent defense in football where it just never works. Or at least I've seen a lot of times where it fails, you know. You just open it up for the team to go crazy.
Yeah, I feel it's an emotional thing. Like you say, the prevent defense in football. The times it doesn't work are the times you remember, right?
Sure. The
times that it does work, you don't remember that. And I think most of the time that we have played bunker ball, we've tended to be okay. We don't have that bad a record over the years of going ahead and then losing. I don't think. Boy, somebody with the stats might really bite me in the ass on that one, but...
We're not known for being the sharpest on our statistics and facts over here.
Yeah, I know. I really need to do some homework.
We'll accept it. It's okay.
Also, I think his personality is not really inspiring. He's a dour, boring man. He's not like a really fun dude that gets people fired up. He's not Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola or anything. But, you know, he's paid to be a soccer coach, and I think he's a pretty good one.
And I want to also add, because you mentioned Klopp, any of these fans who are throwing out these wild ideas that we could possibly get him to replace Gary, you're out of your freaking mind. You're absolutely out of your mind if you think that that's going to happen. We are not getting a coach of that caliber to come to the MLS. Sorry, no.
You're far drunker than I am.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to need a lot more natty daddies to believe that. Evan, what's your hot take this week?
Boys, my hot take is this. Qualifying for the CONCACAF Champions Cup sucks. It doesn't benefit you at all. even when you win, like when Seattle won, I mean, it still costs you so much in league play. I'm glad to see it go. As soon as I knew we were facing Miami, I felt pretty sure we weren't going to win the thing. I'm glad to see us out of there. Let's focus on the league play. Let's get all our guys healthy, playing, contributing, starting. Let's make a classic NSC springtime run and just start collecting the points. Watch them roll in, baby.
Love it. Yeah, I'm totally down with that.
You make a very good point. I'd say that's equally hot. I don't know if it's quite as hot as John's. Maybe John's is like a damn hot, and yours is just a solid hot.
I'll take it.
But I think that some would say maybe it's just a little bit of sour grapes because we didn't advance. But you make an excellent point. I think you've got to weigh what's most important to you. Is winning that CONCACAF Cup your ultimate goal, or is winning the MLS the goal? And MLS is our main league that we're in. I think we've got to keep our sights set on that as our main goal, what we're trying to accomplish this season. You don't want to sacrifice that just to win the CONCACAF.
Yeah, it's set up against us. And everybody knows this. This is no surprise, but it's set up against us. We're starting this tournament cold.
Yeah.
Other teams, in the region are coming in warm.
Yeah.
It just doesn't benefit us. Let it go.
I love it. And especially, I'm very glad that we didn't have to play a Mexican team and go down there and get our ass beat 6-0 like a Philadelphia Union and just embarrass the whole country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, at least it was them and not us. Well, yeah. I have a hot take of my own, even though I'm not an official contestant in this game. But
we can judge.
I don't know if anybody. I seem like I'm really obsessed with Miami in this podcast. But did anybody watch DC and Miami play this weekend? Did you guys happen to catch this? The league is not doing themselves any favors in extinguishing conspiracy theories around the Miami team. And this is a team that is fully loaded with some of the biggest stars in all of soccer in the world. Yeah. And yet it continues to feel like there's thumbs on the scale. DC, they were in the box about to score. Miami player went to the ground, clearly reached out and hit the ball with his hand. It was not a natural sort of thing. He made a motion towards the ball with his hand, not called. And as the DC defense was in disarray and they were trying to recover from that because it was all in front of the box there, Miami was able to eke the ball out upfield quickly. Suarez got it and took it right down and scored. And the pass that went to him that set him up for that was just as questionable as far as offsides go as the Shaq Moore one from the first Miami game and so many others that we've seen. As you mentioned last week, John, offsides can often be a 50-50 sort of thing, but this should have been reviewed just like anything else has been reviewed, as we've seen over and over again. Was it? No. It was accepted as is. And I'm not saying that this is rigged, but I'm saying the league is doing themselves no favors with either these replacement refs or just how Miami is getting judged. I don't know if refs are in awe of the stars that they're around or what's going on, but it's not just Nashville. It's happening to other teams as well. And they're quickly becoming the most hated team in the league, that's for sure.
Well, yeah. How good would Apple's documentary be on Miami if they were losing every game?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's not just on the field, it's off the field. Like, how the fuck have they signed 4 former Barcelona stars when I know we traded away the international spots and all that, blah, blah, blah. We can't even get Forster Ajago on the field because of arcane MLS rules that they apparently don't have to follow. Like, they just get rewritten. And yeah, you're absolutely right.
I'm not sure that I'm ready to completely put it out there. Maybe you are, John, but
I'm ready.
Go ahead and put it out there. Ryan, go ahead and put it out there, and John and I will award you winner of this episode's
winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, well, I think that the thumb is on the scale for Miami. That's all I'm going to say. Next, we're going to try something new, and we'll see how well we do with it. This is Soccer 101. What we want to do in this segment is I wanted to try and throw a bone to maybe some of the newer fans that might be listening. We live in Nashville, a town that is full of people that love to jump onto the bandwagon. Sorry, we got a lot of people that have moved here from California. What can I say? There's a lot of Instagrammers and whatever. So anyway, we see a lot of people at the games that I'm not quite sure understand what's going on the field. And I thought we could do our part to help educate them and help them to understand what they're watching. And I'll say, even for myself, I'm certainly not as schooled or as savvy of the game that's being played on the field as you guys are, even though we all were on the same under-8 soccer team together when we were 7 years old. We all were coached by Coach Wise, so I don't know why I struggle with the fundamentals and you guys don't. I guess I wasn't listening. For my benefit, at least, if not for other listeners, I'd like to try some Soccer 101.
Love it.
I don't know if you've prepared anything. I can certainly field a question out to you guys. I was thinking at the very least it would be cool to maybe talk about formation and strategy that we're seeing our team do on the field. And what can you pick out about certain player movements and positioning that illustrate to you what's going on so that you can identify, oh yeah, this is what they're trying to accomplish here. So let's just take the last game, the Charlotte game, for instance. John, what's the formation or the lineup that we saw them roll out at the beginning? Do you recall?
We rolled out with a 4-4-2.
Okay.
And that was actually what I kind of wanted to talk about, was a back four versus a back three.
And what you're talking about is 4 defenders on the back line there.
4 defenders, which is 2 center backs, a right back, and a left back, versus a back three. You would think a common sense would say a back three would be more attacking. It's not true. A back three is actually more defensive, because in practice, a back three is almost always a back five, especially when Gary Smith is the coach. A back three means 3 center backs along with 2 wing backs, who the 2 wing backs are expected to basically bust their ass up and down the field all game long. And we played a back four in the Charlotte game. We played a back four in the Miami second leg. We did play a back three against Galaxy. And a lot of times I've noticed, I think typically when Zimmerman has been out, we have played a back three, kind of a defense by committee. McNaughton, Mayer, and Bauer last year would usually be the back three.
Or Lovitz.
Yeah, against Galaxy, it was Kalman instead of
Bauer.
No,
Bauer was in.
No, it's a Mayer. Yeah. But yeah, a back three. Usually, if we're starting a back three, it's a more defensive formation than a back four would be.
And who are the midfielders that are tasked with running up and down the field in that case? Usually Muyl is one of them, right?
Well, at the Galaxy game, it was Washington and Shaq.
Yeah,
the outside, the wing backs.
You're right.
So I think those are, Washington or Lovitz, it typically would be the left wing back in a back three. Lovitz, as you mentioned, can be one of a back three. And he did play center back in a back four against Miami in the second leg, and it did not work out particularly well.
He did not look in good position there.
Yeah, that was the game. Obviously, Gary was not trusting Mayer and didn't start him, because Mayer in a back four would have made a lot more sense traditionally.
So what do you think's working better for the roster that we have? What seems to be more successful in your opinion?
In my opinion, the current roster, I would pick a back four, assuming everyone is healthy, especially if Zimmerman is healthy. So Zimmerman, you want my ultimate starting lineup?
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Okay, Zimmerman and McNaughton, the center backs, Shaq, and either Lovitz or Taylor. That's another thing. I'm not sure what's going on with Lovitz right now. It's been interesting that Taylor's getting more playing time. Not that he hasn't earned it, because he's been playing well.
And he's the best human ever existed.
I mean, he's an angel, literally an angel sent to us from God above. And then that would be my starting back four in an ideal world.
Well, it's an interesting thing to watch. So when you see them line up, and of course, as the game progresses, players are going every which direction. And for the uneducated or the newer fan, you see everybody kind of mix up and go all over the field, and you may not understand that they are holding positions and have certain responsibilities. So back four versus back three, are there any specific things that you can look for that really tell you, oh, they're shifted to this formation, or they're still working 4 versus the 3? Are there specific things that you would see that make a lot of sense? I guess it's those 2 outside wings. Well, first of all, it's how many people play back, right, versus push up on the ball when they're playing offense. Am I right on that?
Exactly. In a back three, the back three are typically all the time at the back, unless it's a set piece.
But on a back four, you'll see just 2 people really be conservative.
And then the outside backs will come back and help when the opponent has the ball.
Yeah. So watch those wingers, and they're going to give away what kind of defense we're playing. And again, if you say the back three is actually the more defensive stance.
More defensive.
Interesting. Again, a lot of people, when you first look at that formation, we get sent out those images at the before the game starts. It can show you on the field with the lineup, and it shows you that back four. Many people may interpret that as a more defensive stance, but it's actually not. Interesting. Evan, did you have a soccer 101 you wanted to share with us as well?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Briefly, I thought I would discuss penalty kick strategy.
I love it.
Based on that Panico save in the Galaxy match.
Nice.
Of course, you may remember that was a foot save. And so this is what I wanted to try to explain, which is that we saw Panico dive to his right, which is customary for a keeper to do. Keeper is obviously at a disadvantage in the penalty kick situation, so their best bet is to try to predict which way that ball's going, right or left, and go ahead and get out there and try to beat the ball to the goal. The shooter knows that, of course, so every once in a while, they will hope that the keeper aggressively dives one way or the other and then just go ahead and shoot it right on down the middle, which is what happened in that case. But this was what was so brilliant about Panico's save is that I don't know if he just saw that in the moment or if that's just part of his process, which is to have that flailing foot out there just in case. But I mean, the fact that he had the right side of the goal pretty well covered, but also keeping in mind that ball could possibly come down the middle and being ready to make the kick save, it was incredible. I just loved it.
I did too.
Do you think there was anything specific he was doing there, that how he lined up on that shot that gave him more of an advantage than normal? Just looking it up, penalty kicks are successful about 75-80% of the time for the shooter. So, like you said, the goalie is at a huge disadvantage, but are there small things that a goalie can do? Because they have to stay on the line. They can't move up, because that would give them advantage to be able to move towards the shooter. But they have to stay back on the line. What can a goalie do to increase their chances there?
Obviously, you're trying to get into the head of the shooter. Maybe they've done some prep. I'm assuming the coaches have prepped them on the shooter's tendencies and things like that. Again, at such a disadvantage, you just kind of have to prepare, look that shooter in the eye, watch any tells that he might have, and do your best. But I don't know that I've ever heard that discussed before, which is why I'm so curious to know whether or not that is part of Panico's or any keeper's normal process, or if he just saw something in that moment, that split second, and threw that left leg up there, got the boot on the ball, blocked the penalty kick. I would love to know.
I'd hesitate to say it was luck. He's shown us some ability with penalty kicks before. Last season, in particular, the League's Cup run, he was a significant part of that with his penalty kick prowess. And he hung in there even against Miami in that final till the very end. So he's definitely got some ability there that's, I think, above and beyond a normal keeper. It's interesting. It would be a fun interview to talk to Panico about penalty kick strategy. I would be all for it.
All for it.
I love that you brought this up, because I have something else I want to share that's on this topic. Last week was traveling with my family. We're visiting some colleges, and we were listening to an economics professor talk about probabilities and statistics and that sort of thing. He was actually a sports economics professor, and he put a picture of a soccer goal up on screen, and it's basically divided like a tic-tac-toe board into 9 different sections, equal sections of the goal. And he had everybody in the audience of several hundred people vote, where would you shoot it? What do you think is the best spot to shoot this ball in order to be successful and score the goal? Most people voted for corners, either high corners on the left or right or low corners. Actually, the spot that is the most successful place to shoot the ball is dead center. It's like 98% success rate.
That's amazing.
The corners are in the 80s, like low 80s. So it's really interesting to put some money ball onto this thing, or some mathematics to it. A goalie's best bet. Well, I shouldn't say that, because you have to know the kicker. A kicker's best bet is to kick it straight into the goal.
Yeah.
Alex Muyl, if you're listening, Aim for the
into the
center. Aim for the center. Don't aim high. Don't try to edge it into the goal. Dead center, 98% of the time, gets you the score, which was, I thought, really illuminating.
Do y'all remember who the keeper on our U8 team was?
No. Do you?
Was it Chad? Oh, no, it was you, John. Yeah,
me.
That's right. Of course.
You were our keeper.
I've only played goalkeeper ever.
Right.
And I will tell you that I always tried to leave my foot behind in the middle. But I hate telling you that now, because if we play a pickup game, now you know where to fucking shoot.
Oh gosh, that is incredible. So, do you recall having faced many penalty kicks in your days?
A few, yeah.
Wow, that is
not as many as Elliot Panico would.
What's it like to defend an 8-year-old?
I mean, yeah, it's been a few years.
Which team was the most difficult to defend? Was it the red team or the green team?
I think the red team had our number, dude.
Yeah, they were tough. All right, so it's time for the weekend preview. NSC gets a much calmer week ahead with their CONCACAF obligation now over. They're going to travel to Los Angeles to face the LA Football Club on Saturday. So far, LAFC has struggled to open the season. They have only won once, they've drawn once, and they've lost twice, have a goal differential of -4. Meanwhile, the boys in gold will look to turn their first win into a streak. They're currently positioned 8th in the Eastern Conference, 1 win and 3 draws, no losses, and a goal differential of +1. So, do you guys have any predictions about what we're going to see over the course of the next week and, of course, next weekend against LA?
I think it's going to be another fun, almost too fun game. I think LA is going to really come after us because, like you said, they've struggled to get out of the blocks this season. Their top striker, Boanga, has not scored yet in the league, and they're built to win. Hugo Lloris, French World Cup winning goalkeeper, is their goalkeeper. They have talent all over the field, and they don't have the CONCACAF excuse for their slow start like New England and Orlando and Philadelphia. They all have a good excuse for starting slow because they've been playing like us at CONCACAF. LA has not been, and it's got to be disappointing for them. So I really think they're going to come after us hard, but that also leaves opportunities for the counterattack. And I am cautiously optimistic that our offense has been clicking, and maybe this is the game Hani starts clicking along with them. My prediction is a 2-2 draw, another 2-2.
Are we going to score the first 2 goals and then give up the lead again?
Yeah.
Oh, damn. That's going to suck.
I think we'll get one on a counter for sure, because I think LA is going to throw everything at us.
They're getting desperate is what you're saying.
They're going to feel like it's a must win at home to get on track.
What do you think, Evan?
I'm feeling a 2-1 victory for us. LAFC really struggling to score goals. If I remember correctly, tied for second to the last in number of goals scored in the Western Conference. Boanga's dropped off considerably this season. No Carlos Vela. I think we go over there and win 2-1. That's my sane prediction. Can't wait to give you my wild prediction, though.
Yeah, hit me. Go ahead.
You ready for this?
Yeah.
This will happen. You guys remember a week or so ago, whenever that was, the Windy City goal in Chicago, Kellen Acosta putting that ball towards the end of the match way up into the air through some combination of goalie misjudging it and a little bit of Windy City gust. The ball finds its way into the net, right? Well, this week, it's spring break in Los Angeles. The traffic is extra bad. People are trying to get out. The smog in the city is terrible. It rolls into the stadium there at the end. It's a 1-1 draw. It's in the 90th minute.
Yeah.
We're pushing for the win. We've got the momentum. Taylor Washington puts a ball from way back on the left side up into the box, looking for a header. The ball gets lost in the smog. LAFC's keeper doesn't know where it is until he's picking it out of the back of the net.
Yes.
Beautiful.
I love it.
God, I hope this happens.
Oh, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
If this does happen, Evan, we're going to have the hottest podcast in the Southeast.
Well, you're welcome, boys. You're welcome.
I think we're going to have full complement of offense. You know, all our offensive players should be rested and ready to go. So
no Schaffelberg.
Oh, he's
with Canada.
Oh, damn it, we cannot catch a break with getting our people all together at the same time. It's kind of like organizing this podcast sometimes, like trying to get everybody
No shit, man.
available. No, I'm joking. Yeah, man, getting all of our offensive players in the same game at the same time is just a real struggle. So in that case, we're going to see Mackenzie Gaines get a brace is what we're going to do. I think Mukhtar is going to have 2 assists on each one of those, and he's going to start returning to form, but more of as a facilitator. And we're not going to see him be our top scorer this year. We're going to see him be our top assist man, though. That's what I really believe.
Spicy chicken take right there.
I think Sam Surge is going to be a top scorer this year, but I think Mukhtar is going to be the ultimate facilitator. He's going to be instead of, how Muyl is the Russell Westbrook, as we've talked about before, Mukhtar is going to be ultimate Chris Paul. So looking forward to that. It's going to be a good game, and we're going to win it 2-0. Our defense locks them down. We're going to see Jack Mayer stepping up. We're going to see McNaughton doing McNaughton things, and we're going to see Lovett's back, and it's going to feel like old times again when it comes to the defense. That's what's going to happen.
I love it.
So get ready for all that.
Well, now I'm going to change my prediction, though, because y'all both predicted it, man. And I did not take the Taylor Washington smog goal into account. So 3-2 win, accounting for the Taylor goal. That's going to happen.
God, I hope that does happen. Nothing would make me prouder if we get the smog goal. All right, guys, so I think that wraps up another great episode of Electric Gold. Appreciate you guys being a part of it. John, you want to share our socials with everybody in case they want to follow us?
Absolutely. We are currently on Twitter and Instagram at Electric Gold NSC. Yeah, follow us, please.
Follow us. Learn to love us or hate us, whichever.
Yeah. Well, I don't care.
Terrific. Guys, thanks again. It's been a great episode, and we'll see you next time. Remember, come on, you boys in gold.
Come on, you boys.
Come on, you boys, and gold.